Well, that's not looking good. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Alright, it's time to unbox the one I got from the mod collection last week. However, as you see here, the box arrived very damaged. It could just be that there wasn't enough padding in this area of the box, but everything else is fine. But if you're not familiar, mod collection, demo shop, it's where they take their factory seconds. They rework them, sometimes they get a new finish, other times they change out parts, other times they sell them as they sit as a demo, but we recap the coolest ones every Sunday on this channel. But so far, sounds promising. But shall we go ahead and see what I got? It was the Candy Apple Les Paul Sr. So we've actually documented a white one that's similar to this, but I just had to see this thing in the flesh. Candy Apple Red on the front, yeah, it's a cool metallic finish, but what makes this one special are the edges of this beast, which we will see here as I pull it out and hopefully don't feel a broken headstock. Yep, we're okay. So now let's see what everybody wants to see. The edges. Ooh. It kind of reminds me of their Cosmic Stew finishes. We had documented a 335 Studio, I believe it was. It definitely encapsulates that whole candied apple effect. It's got the greens, it's got the reds, the back of the guitar is just straight up red, but then we've got the finish on the back. But, as I had previewed to you, this is not just a regular Les Paul Custom. It appears to be a 57 reissue, which, with any luck, we should be able to determine if this has the mahogany top of one or not. So that would make it significantly different than that white one we had previously documented. But if you're not familiar, the Les Paul Sr. was a Music Zoo exclusive. They made like 10 of them. There were a few different finishes, and we had documented one of the prototypes. It's essentially Les Paul Jr. Wrap tail, dog ear P90, but thrown on a standards body. So it's got the carved top with full body thickness. But this is the first time that Gibson themselves have actually attached it to something, but you know, it's still within the mod collection, so they attach a bunch of weird names to stuff. So calling it official, maybe not. But first impressions, this thing is seriously light. It would not surprise me if we find out it's been chambered. Condition-wise, there's a ding right here at the top. However, I'm noticing some interesting case candy. So we have our usual demo shop COA that's been reissued with our 2 picks. For some reason, we have a Gibson USA case candy with the owner's manual, polished cloth, and multi-tool. I'm not sure why that's in there, especially since this is a custom shop case. But then check this out. Let me know, have you gotten one of these in your mod collection or demo shop purchase? Usually the Gibson USAs would get something similar to this, but it wouldn't actually be packed in this packaging. So that's something potentially new here. And of course we've got our warranty evaluation here, which basically just tells you everything that they saw that was wrong with the guitar. Such as scratches at the neck joint bass side, flaw at waist treble side, lacquer lip on both neck and body. Though relatively minor stuff for as fun as this one is. So to learn more about this particular Senior, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to take a look at its parts and specs. Inside our red friend here. So in direct lighting, it actually appears to be more of an orange color, so it's kind of like orange to red flip-flop if that's what you're looking for. It's got a nice belly carve to it, but let's go ahead and look at our pickup. So it's just a regular dog ear style P90, and it's marked as a P90 dog ear reissue from the year 2022. But our pickup reads 7.93k ohms within the circuit. And that's just a master volume, master tone, Les Paul Jr. style layout, straight up and down. Now as far as our pickup cavity, unfortunately, it's inconclusive as to what the top is made of. I cleaned off the buffing compound right here to see if I could maybe tell, but there's still too much finish there. And the finish is still too new yet, none of the lacquer sink has taken into effect, but you can definitely see some light dings in the top where it wasn't perfectly buffed. I know we had talked about that one too. But you gotta keep in mind, this was a demo shop guitar. They're not trying to perfectly refinish them. That's why they can get a little bit crazier than the regular custom shop sometimes, because they don't have to worry about making everything spotless. For example, right up here in the cutaway, there's a small chip in the finish that you wouldn't find in a first quality instrument. And they usually put these parts on really soon after refinishing it. Like right here, you can tell there's a line where the plastic cover sits and has already impressed it. That's there on both the front and back. The finish around the wrap tail piece is kind of crude as well. You can see they had some cracking happening. Thankfully that's hidden for the most part when it's installed. And a lot of what that is, it's just they finished over the metal bushing inside. Even on brand new guitars, you'll at least see some sort of a line form eventually. Here's a look at the tailpiece. It's your regular wraparound style one, advanced plating branded, and it's lightweight aluminum. And this does appear to have started life as just a single humbucker. I know I just said the lacquer sink hasn't fully occurred, but usually these true nitro finishes, if there was a filled in route for a neck pickup, pick guard holes, or additional controls, they show up very quickly. but maybe we'll find out more through the back. Moving on from our body, we've got the mahogany neck with the ebony fretboard. It's your standard 24 3/4 inch scale length with the 12-inch fretboard radius. You've got your real mother of pearl block inlays. It's all your usual stuff. When I had first gotten it, there was like a glue seepage right here that I was able to clean most of it off. Lots of tooling marks around the edge, but it appears we have a nylon nut that measures 1.69 inches, which increases to 2.078 by the 12th. Pretty chunky first fret neck depth at 0.95, and wow, 1.05 by the 12th. Here's that neck profile at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. Just a nice rounded C. Moving on to the headstock, we've got our truss rod cover, which is the historic style wide beveled edge Les Paul Custom. And then this is one of those truss rods that has some thread sticking out of it, brand new from the factory. I don't fully understand it, but that's the way some of them are. We've got the vintage style tuners up here, the Gibson waffle backs. And you've got that historic logo. It's lightly ambered over. It's just such a beautiful headstock. Because usually when Gibson has fun with these, they don't go for the full historic specs. They just take base model customs. Moving on to the backside. Just like the top, there's no routes visible of where they would have filled in a toggle switch cavity route. So to reiterate, this definitely started life this way, just something happened where they had to give it a cool custom finish. The back plate looks a little bit weird, like it's maybe not their first quality one, a little bit more dull. Check out our weird control cavity. So it's not uncommon for these to still get the full route, but look, the floor of the cavity is actually slightly sloped right there. That's why there's that line. We've got historic Bumblebee style caps with our Gibson Custom Shop pots. But what I found increasingly strange is we have a mystery hole right here, and then we have a very tiny hole where they decided to fish the ground wire and our pickup through. So what is in that hole? Well, I took my endoscope out, and we go in, and then nothing. It goes to nothing. I'd imagine that's just a leftover remnant of how they normally make these things and how they program their machines or how they pre-drill the bodies. So it probably went up here. But since there's nothing underneath there, that's why we ended with nothing. So for us, that just makes extra weight relief. Same thing here. It definitely is not chambered though, at least not usual custom shop chamber style. So that means that is a very choice piece of mahogany right here. It is light. And unfortunately, we can't see through to the bare wood again, but based on everything else we're seeing, it has to have a mahogany top. But we've got our strap buttons in our usual locations on the edge. Take a second to appreciate the sides. You can see a seam line showing where the neck joins to the body. I kind of wish they just would have went for doing this all over the guitar. It would have made it even more unique. But at the same time, it gives you a really interesting side profile view when you get the red and orange together. And this does have a semi-color shift effect to it. It's that red finish underneath it doing its metallic thing. It more so reminds me of camo though. And not that it's easy to tell, but there are a few finish goof-up areas back here. Like right here, it almost looks like a wood eye grain in the formation of the wood, but no, that's just paint drops. A little bit of a contamination over here. Also got a contamination over there. Some right here. It's not perfect, but you know what this reminds me of now? It tells the story of sparkling burgundy finish. It starts off life like this, but then as the sun ages it, it slowly goes more yellow. That's funny, we were just talking about that one at Davidson's well-strung guitars. So this one paints that in a unique way. And now we've got our quirky neck to look at. So what it looks like to me is that they just finished this all candy apple red. Maybe it was a custom order for that. But then they sprayed over this green finish over top to give you a swirl effect. So maybe you're just looking through where it wasn't sprayed to see the red. But here we've got our Gibson custom decal and the Gibson waffleback tuners in chrome. But this serial number really confused me when I first saw it. So 42375. Well, it's not 2024 yet, so that didn't make sense, but now that we know it's some sort of a reissue, perhaps it was a 1954 reissue made in the year 2022, and it's production number 375 for that particular year. That's the only thing that would make sense. So technically, I think this is a 54 reissue, which makes it even cooler, because normally that would mean staple pickups, but unfortunately we've just got the regular P90. So there we go, 8 pounds 7 ounces. That is really good, and it turned out to be a 1954 Les Paul Custom Reissue that doesn't look traditional in the slightest, but it's a lot of fun. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how it sounds. Now that we know all about this very interesting 54 reissue custom, what are my final thoughts? I'm really glad I bought this. I know I've documented similar things in the past, but the fact that this turned out to be a crazy 54 is really fascinating because I don't think I've ever seen a truly custom color BB4. Usually, like, the craziest you would ever see on one of those is like maybe TV yellow if you got lucky. But one that has the candy apple red top instead of the ebony, matching back. Then you get this weird whatever they're doing on the edges, which has the gold and the red. It just makes it a little bit more fascinating. And it honestly makes a lot of sense that this was a 1954 reissue because those already have the P90 in the bridge. It just doesn't have the dog ear cover over top of it. So it makes sense that you could custom order one of these without it in the neck. So, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this one. If you're interested in being the next owner, you can check it out on my website, troglysguitarshow.com. And if not, hey, we will see you tomorrow on the next episode where we will document another fun guitar. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.